What is going on, everyone? My name is Boyd and I am back with some more Age of Mythology: The Titans action. Spawning in the right side of the map in the blue color playing set, his name is Joe. In the left hand corner of the map in the red color playing as Uranus, his name is Shelty. Both players are from the DoD clan. This is the RTS Sanctuary Christmas Tournament Finals. It's currently 3-1 for Joe. Shelty managed to make it a little bit closer here with his Uranus, taking a game off of Joe. So let's see if he can keep this up, or if Joe can make a nice adaptation based on the map and the matchup and what happened last game in order to see if he can take the final game to crown him the winner of this tournament. But I'm rooting for the Uranus player in this game. We've seen too many Egyptian players taking too many games in this tournament. I'm hoping Shelty can pull out the W here and take the completely finish this tournament off with a come from behind sweep. We'll see if he manages to do that or if Joe's going to crumble to the pressure. Joe did decide to switch to Set this game. He's had enough of that Isis. I feel like Set is a completely different beast against Uranus because he has access to Shifting Sands. Shifting Sands means you can take your really strong army and you can place it on the location you want to fight. With a Ford Gold Mine here, with no towers anywhere and terrible gold, this is a perfect opportunity for Joe to go for that brutal cheese. And if he sends his hyena in, if he sends his hyena to his opponent's base, which you should always do super early as Set against pretty much everyone. You want to send your hyena over the opponent's base and then steal any goat you possibly can from them. So it's a double whammy. You get to see what their resource layout is and then everything else. You don't see that negative 25% Secrets of the Titans cost. I'm not sure that relic is worth grabbing that early in the game. You're going to be losing a lot of food based on that from your granary here. And this laborer is going to be doing the wrong thing, but that's okay. We do see only 2 villagers on gold though, which does mean it is potential for Joe to be doing that super fast cheese with the priests and the pharaoh and the animals and the conversions. So you have seen that the priest is stealing giraffe already, which is really, really good. There's also hyena here. If we check out these giraffe, they have a 60-second conversion time compared to both have 60-second conversion time. I thought it was different for hyena. Anyway, it's going to be stealing those giraffe away, sending them back to the base to eat, and moving over here to these giraffes. So there's heaps of food for Joe. So Joe is going to be advancing super fast here, which is nice. Unfortunately, losing one of those scouting goat to an oracle, it looks like, potentially, or he sent that one back to his base. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure what happened there, but if he did get to here and then came back on the same path, a little bit confusing. Anyways, we have seen a nice giraffe steal there. If we jump over to Shelty's perspective, Shelty grabbing that mana next to that gold mine, moving his citizens forward. He is going to be spotting this priest doing damage to him. Grabbing these hyena first though, which may be a bad idea because it's going to mean that this second giraffe is going to get taken as well. If we jump over to Shelty's perspective, in the fog of war, he only sees 2 giraffe here. He only sees 2 giraffe, which means he may not notice this at all. So he's going to be moving forward, killing off the other hyena first. I hope he does the animation cancel. No animation cancelling there by Shelty. You can kill off that hyena about half a second faster if you animation cancel. We are seeing the villager does move in. If he picks off this one that is getting converted, that's going to be a nice win for Shelty there because that's the one that Joe was converting there. And unfortunately, that's it for Joe. But fortunately for Shelty, that one is going to be getting killed there, and he's not going to be able to steal any more of those giraffes, and he's going to have to move that priest away. Nice little quick micro. They're not taking any damage from that villager. However, basically all Shelty needs to do is kill off these giraffe, and it's going to be totally fine for him. If we jump back over to Shelty's perspective, he has got that temple going up already, and the rest of his villagers are on that food, so he's going to be advancing maybe 3:30 for that 4:30 minute mark. It's a little bit late if you ask me. I much prefer to go like 4:15 or 4:10 and attempt to put on the pressure super early with Set, especially when they have that exposed gold mine. However, it looks like Shelty's doing a bit of a funky build order here. This is oh no, he's not. He's just trying to get to the classical age as fast as possible. Unfortunately, not happening there. If we jump back over to Joe's perspective, he's not in the classical age either just yet. So he's a little bit of a hitch in his build order there. That temple, he's not going up fast enough. So it is going to be going up, but not quite there at the right time. to be advancing fast. This is like always, I'm watching Joe play and he's always getting to the classical age about 30 seconds later than I think he is with his build orders, just because he like neglects to get pickaxe, which is something very odd indeed. We do see that Tar is the god of choice. He should be building some priests out, even just to start converting the baboons. What do they take? They 30 seconds as well, so everything seems to be, oh no, 30 seconds is less, so he could take those baboons and use those in his army. He is sending, he's stealing these baboons here. Where's his pharaoh? He's moving that pharaoh back to his base, garrison the relic, and then potentially going to be using a shifting sands with him. He chucks him onto that gold mine, but also looks like no priests are coming out just yet for Joe, so I'm not 100% sure on what the deal there is, and all of these giraffe are going to be extinguished in the next half a minute. So he's going to have to move back into his base to gather these berries and eat from the giraffe. So it could be potential that he just simply goes for a fast heroic or a fast second town center. So we'll see what he does choose to do. He is moving these monkeys in, but you don't want to move them in too early because they do get pretty much one hit by a citizen. So he's going to move in here, see what's left, and then he can then shifting sands onto this location. We do see military backs going up and a counter barracks going up for Shelty. So Shelty's a little bit late to that second age. He's going to be deleting that Promethean offspring, going to be deleting that Promethean into a Promethean offspring, and then send that off to his opponent's base in order to see what's going on and see what damage you can do with that. Military barracks is going to go up, counter barracks is going to go up. We do see the vision going up, so he's going to be able to spot the base of his opponent there. If we jump back over to Joe's perspective, we do see a town center is getting picked up there. No shifting sands just yet, so little bit confused as to what's going on here. It looks like he's faked that aggression maybe, or he's seen the layout of his opponent's base and he's decided, no need to do that at all. I'm going to hold off and just grab my second town center. This is an interesting thing. Normally we see the set players grabbing very aggressive second town centers, but on Oasis they generally have back town centers. There is this one here, but you have to travel quite a way to do so, and we do see that the goats have been split up as well. I really like that from Shelty there, splitting the goats up. However, he can split them up even better, right? You can send one over to this tower, one here, one over here, and be totally fine. We see that Joe has tried to steal some goats there, but they're going to get cleaned up with that Terma, sent back to his base. Second town center is up, and we do see a barracks going up for Joe at this point. So Joe's going to start building those slingers and attempt to play that step play style. Get a bunch of slingers, get priests mixed in with the slingers, and essentially try and keep up with the Uranus player in tech and get ahead in the economy by getting the early second town center. So we'll see how does Shelty react to this. He's still building units. He knows his opponent's got that second town center, so he can start moving around the map completely freely without any worry. However, whoops, nice shifting sands. Oh, that's a huge shifting sands right there. He's going to be picking off at least one citizen. They do have a garrison point over here, and that could potentially mean that only one village does get picked off here, unless these set animals can block the path. It looks like they may be able to kill off one more, and he manages to pick off two citizens there. That's actually huge. At the 6-minute 30 mark though, so it's not as big as it used to be. Usually you used to just be able to shifting sands the two villages and kill them off straight away in your base at like 4 minutes and 30 seconds. However, he's also going to lose the rest of his army. So it's whether you what you think is more important there. You lose your pharaoh, you lose your priests. There really shouldn't be any other units that die here for Shelty. We do see that the Wadjet is trying to pick off the medium Terma. Missing that guy is very much so what's going to happen there, and we do see all of those units do die there. So Joe trading his shifting sands for two citizens plus his army. That means no pharaoh for a little bit, which is a slower economy, no priests. He is chucking up an armory as well, so I'm not sure about this. He is going to be it's going to be very difficult for him to get another gold mine like last game, simply because he's lost so many units already. If Shelty can go hard on the army, he should be able to wait for that 10-minute mark and basically gold starve. That should be the aim there. We have seen that Shelty's readjusted his economy, so he's taken those 3 villages or 2 villages that died, readjusted them onto the goat in his base. He's still got some berries, and he's still pumping out units at the same rate he was. He did stop the Murmillos for a little bit there. We do see that Shelty is moving into the base of Joe. He's found a little gap in the wall, and he's going to attempt to deal with these units. He can cast Shockwave but it looks like he's trying to just see what he can do here. There's a lot of damage being taken by these units here, but a couple of villagers do fall there. We do see that that wall has been readjusted here, and nice armory blocks, but there's too many units here to just pick those off, so he's going to have to retreat, or he is going to be able to retreat, sorry, and we do see a little bit of a multi-raid over on this location. However, the villagers are completely safe, and we have seen Joe with 12 villagers on wood spamming those slingers very, very fast. So slingers versus Terma, it is very difficult to win those fights unless you mass the slingers. You can't fight just yet. You cannot take these losses. No. Joe, you need to move back into your town center. Okay, he's running away. He's going to be taking quite a few casualties there. These Termas pick off those slingers so fast, and we do see that they have been almost all picked off there. And Shelty's completely fine with fighting under the tower fire at this point, so long as he can throw his spears at the slingers, because they basically die in 3 shots from a Terma. So if you grab 3 of your Terma and you test attack, we have seen them all getting picked off there. So this is going to be huge for Shelty to stay ahead in the military. If we jump over to Shelty's perspective, he's at 73 population, so he's doing super, super well at this point as opposed to Joe's 57 population. However, he has got his army stuck at this point behind a wall here. So he has to move in, he has to pick off these slingers and then somehow run through the town center fire without having taken that much damage from these slingers. So what he needs to do is move this army over here, move them in, try to sandwich his opponent from 2 sides at one point, and then start picking off these slingers as best as you can. You definitely don't want to get those slingers to be targeting those Mamilo. All we are seeing is Shockwave getting targeted there. A really nice one. They're sending a bunch of these slingers really close to the Terma on both sides. So all these Terma are going to die here, and these Terma should make their way out of this location at this point in the game. Do not want to, okay, keep them there. That's cool. Shelty is keeping them there. That's cool, man. Do you. One Terma does get picked off by the town center, which is a nice little win there for Joe. If we're jumping back into Joe's base, we do see he's at 850 gold there. So he is in a bit of a difficult spot there. What he could be trying to do at this point is moving to this gold mine and just watchtowering it up. Build all your watchtowers, sneak your villagers over there super early, get a bunch of watchtowers, and then you may be able to survive there if you can pick up crenellations as well. However, all the army on this town center, and Shelty is just trying to force this until the 10-minute mark. 10-minute mark is that magical number. 10 minutes, 10 minutes 30, and around about 11 minutes is when you want to be really scouting hard for your opponent, getting that second gold mine. If you can stop that one, you can get a win. However, with a large chunk of the population of Shelty armies behind the base of Joe, it's going to be difficult for him to actually defend here. So we are seeing that these units are moving up to this other side of the map here. We jump over to Shelty's perspective, we'll see where they are looking. They are looking to move into this location here. So they are going to see any villagers moving by. So if Joe does go for that one, it's going to be a little bit too much. We are seeing those slingers are chasing down the Terma here. They are going to get all picked off. And we're going to see if potentially Joe can stop these Termas from this. We are seeing another little bit of the armory abuse here. But I feel like they are going to be maybe getting all picked off here from the watchtower fire and the town center fire. Nice little building distractions. They're going to be enough to pick off the rest of Shelty's units here. But looks like Joe has run out of food and his gold mine is about to expire there. So this is all going to come down to whether or not, I don't know if I like that, Joe has decided to spend all of his gold, not all of his gold, but a large portion of his gold on farms there. So he's going to be running out of the gold mine and then also having no gold left in the bank. He's still producing these slingers. He does have quite a few slingers at this point, sitting at 77 population to Shelty's 76 population, but it's awfully even. If it's even and you start fighting against an Aranos player, then they can continue to fight for a very, very long time if it's even, because they do the spam war very nicely. We are seeing that second town center is going up for Shelty. I feel like he didn't really take note of his advantage here. So grabbing that town center is not exactly something you want to be doing. We are seeing that Joe is potentially going to be moving up to the top side of the map. He's sending some slingers up there already, and it looks like, is he going to get noticed here? We do see that Shelty is sending a Terma up here, and he does not manage to see the villagers moving up there at this point. However, he will see an army up there when he moves up. He's seeing those slingers did move up there, and he's going to be running that guy away before he takes too much damage. He should send the rest of his units up there to start fighting, because he is really keen on that fighting. He does have access to another Valor as well to make his units even stronger. Shelty's sitting at 100 population to Joe's 95 population. So this is kind of all going to come down to micro. There is no access to Shockwave at this point, though those Murmillo are moving, and this is some nice micro here, trying to dodge all of those slinger fights as he's moving in with those Murmillo, and we are seeing those slingers are going to get picked off super fast. The micro is not too great here, but enough to push Shelty out, and unfortunately for Shelty, not going to be able to get that gold star just yet. However, he does have that contingency plan with the second town center there, and he has got a Murmillo over here just to be checking on this town center, so he's not going to be falling behind too quickly on the economy. In fact, he's going to start catching up for the economy. I didn't see the third town center, so I think he was trying to do a little bit too much there, trying to pick off the army of Joe while expanding 3 town centers means you're not going to have an army yourself. However, Joe is doing very, very well at this point, managing to get that second gold mine. This mining camp is awful. If you know anything about me, it's like it takes less than a second to position a mining camp. Just position it well. That's all you're going to do, and you're going to make so much more money. You want to make the money, less effort, no effort even. It's just put it in the right place. He made the effort to put it there instead of here. Move the mouse that far and it's completely fine. But it's fine. It's up there, so he's going to be gathering some gold. We are seeing that the Terma are moving in yet again, attempting to pick off all of those medium slingers. Those Murmillo are doing absolute work. Nice micro there, pulling those Terma and Murmillo back, and it looks like the slingers are going to have to make their way back, and we are seeing villagers getting pulled off the gold line there and trying to fight the rest of the army here of Shelty. So this is maybe a little bit too much for Shelty to fight here. We do see a couple of axemen have finally started coming in. We are seeing another barracks getting thrown up at this point. Joe's got quite a few resources in gold, but he did not build the rest of those barracks in order to spam his units and spend all of his resources super fast. So he's trying to adjust that, getting that next barracks up, going to be able to start building those units there. That Pharaoh should get picked up very, very quickly, and we are seeing more and more villagers taking off the line of the gold mine and trying to move in. Nice shockwave there, picking off all of those villagers with that shockwave. However, there's really not that many units left here, and with those axemen coming out at this point, those Murmillo are going to fall super fast, and those Terma are going to have to retreat out of here as well. We're going to see those get picked off very quickly if he doesn't retreat those either. So Shelty sitting in a good position, did manage to pick off a bunch of villages there, so he's going to be ahead on the economy at this point, but Joe managing to hold on for the moment here. Those axemen are absolutely deadly against this army of Shelty. Shelty needs to start thinking about transitioning into Kyra Ballista or something else, or even just going straight to that next age. We are seeing those farms are starting to come out now, so he is going to be able to be totally fine, and he's starting to move some villagers over to the gold mine up here, but he has fallen behind on the economy. On the gold economy, he should think about grabbing that shaft mine and maybe stopping fighting for just a little bit. When you're readjusting your army, and you don't want to be sitting in any point where your opponent can have a timing attack, but constant fighting for Uranus is the aim of the game. If you keep on fighting with Uranus, you're going to come out ahead 9 times out of 10. That's the general idea with this god. Nice little choke here that he's managed to create. This is nice because he can't finish this wall off just yet. All of those slingers are getting targeted, but it's going to be a little bit too much there, and these Terma are going to have to retreat out. Finally, the army of Joe is starting to become pretty beefy here, so I wouldn't mind seeing another barracks getting thrown down. When you can see your economy that big with that much wood in the bank, maybe just consider some more buildings, and then you'll hit that population limit faster. It's 75 gold. It's pretty much nothing. And we are picking off some more of those units here, but every time Joe steps out and starts fighting Shelty, he's kind of making a mistake. As Egyptians, you want to be sitting back and trying to mass your army and get that ball of death. And at this point, he's fighting too much, and that's allowing Shelty to just keep getting steadily and steadily ahead, especially when he's sitting at that 3 town center to 2 town center, which means he's going to get ahead on the village account very, very quickly. We are seeing these Wadgets are out as well, so they're in a nice position sitting at the back of the army, and he can pick off those hero Terma as they come in as well. We're seeing just more and more units just pumping in, attempting to pick off the axemen and picking off everything else which Joe has, but Shelty, it's going to be just kind of bashing his head against a brick wall at this point. Constant action, but bashing his head against a brick wall. He needs to think about getting to that second age, which It looks like he's chucking up an armory, and he is chucking up that third counter barracks. So he's potentially going to be able to get to that next age fairly soon. He is sitting at 145 population, so he can simply just cancel the production of those Murmillo and the villagers from his town centers, and he should be totally fine. We are seeing these villagers moving forward. Ooh, this is going to be nasty right here. Is this going to be... What is going on here? He's trying to move forward and pick off these citizens at this point with these villagers, and there is nice little wall choke here, which means that Shelton's going to take quite a while to get back here. What's happening here? Oh, he's moving his villagers in to try and pick off this town center. We do see Masons is coming through, which is going to be a huge buff to this town center, but he's grabbing it kind of on the wrong town center. I need to get those villagers out and start repairing this town center as fast as you can. We are seeing the army of Shelty is moving in right now. It's going to be way too much for Joe to deal with here. If he can just get those Murmillo to be jumping onto the slingers at this point, he should be totally fine. However, this potentially is just a good choke point for Joe. He's actually managed to completely surround the Uranus army, which is huge. Those badges taking a bunch of damage. The town center has got that Masons up right now, so he's going to be continuing to pick off those villagers at this point. The Wadjet is getting picked off as well, and this is actually, maybe this town center is going to fall, but I feel like maybe not. We are seeing some more army now moving in for Shelty, going to be moving in, trying to pick off those villagers as fast as he possibly can. The town center is staying alive barely, but it is going to be going down if he can't pick off more of these villagers fast enough. He doesn't have access to Shockwave. That town center sitting at 40 HP, 30 HP, 20 HP, 0 HP does fall. Really nice win there for Joe, but at what cost? What cost is that? He has managed to pick off the town center. Town center gets rebuilt straight away. All the army of Joe getting picked off at this point. Shelty is going to be able to hold on for dear life, picking off these medium slingers as well and doing what he can to stay in this game. The village is moving off the line again, trying to pick off that town center and slow it down. Still, having this Murmillo over here is going to be enough to stop Shelter from going 3 town centers himself. More villagers getting pulled off the gold line as well, getting sent in, but every time you pick off a villager, that's further and further ahead Shelter gets on the economy. If we jump over, Shelter is sitting at 119 population to Joe's 110 population. So Joe is actually almost ahead on the population, even after losing all those villagers. So we'll see if this really is going to be enough here for Joe to take this game. I feel like this town center is going to go up at this point. There is finally some Prometheans coming in, a little bit of beef in the army here. Get those Murmillo to be picking off that Pharaoh as soon as you possibly can. You don't want to be taking too many free hits from that guy. And we are seeing that the Axemen are getting focus 5 for some reason, not the Pharaoh. Those Promethean offspring are now coming out. Just need to move those guys in, take some tanking. We are seeing barracks go up for Joe here, which is going to be able to start producing those units right into the battlefield of Shelty, and Shelty's got the armory up over here for some reason, but that's really not going to be doing all too much. Shelty's got enough gold mines over here and over here to be able to continue spamming that gold. Still no shaft mine at this point. He could really use that one because he's running very low on the gold, especially because he's spending so much on Prometheans, on Terma, and on Murmillo. The town center looks like it is potentially going to go up. That Pharaoh is going to be doing so much damage. If you just get some of those Terma to just start focus firing the Pharaoh, those Prometheans do so much more. But as that Pharaoh stays alive, it's going to be way too much. You see access to another shockwave here, so he could use that if he so feels like it. But I feel like maybe holding on to it for the time being is going to be totally fine. Shelty has managed to hang on at this point, sitting at 110 population to Joe's 114 population. But Joe's got such a huge economy at this moment for some reason. Such a huge resources in the bank. It's like he's just not spending the resources for some reason. He's not building villages either. So he's sitting on that 2 town centers, but I'm just so confused as to why this is happening. It's like Joe's like maybe doing some sort of weird score trick thing where you don't spend your resource, and he's trying to like get in the head of Shelty in order to win the game. But I think Shelty is actually ahead at this point. We are seeing that this town center is still not going up. Potentially, Shelty should just say, okay, I'll give up on that and just maybe send some units down to this location. We do see that the Murmillo has spotted the laborers moving up here, attempting to grab this town center at this point. I feel like Joe should probably just ignore that town center. He doesn't have the resource to build it either. Instead, maybe go for the heroic age. We are seeing that Murmillo is going to pick off a villager there and then get picked off himself. However, looks like Shelty is deciding to ignore the army of Joe at this point in favor of running up to these villages and stopping that town center from going up. So we'll see if he can make it there in time. At this point, it kind of comes down to Shelty just defending here. Nice shockwave there, but there's just not that much you can do. You can see how quickly these units get back to work after they've stopped being stunned. We are seeing that Wadjet is finally going to get picked off there. Hero Momilo is going to be enough there. That town center, it looks like these units are getting here before it does go up. We're seeing a nice little raid on this location as well. Nice raid on this location. We're seeing so many villages over here getting taken off the town center, building tasks there in order to fight that Momilo. There's just too many units here for those villages to really do all that they can. So we'll see if he manages to keep these guys alive for long enough. And we are seeing that the units of Joe are getting pushed back with just a couple of those Promethean offspring. Finally, a priest into the action though, so he's going to be able to do a little bit as well. Those villagers taking some damage here and all going to get kind of picked off there. It's going to be totally fine. And the villagers kicked off the gold mine there as well. Joe can delete this in favor of some other gold, and it looks like the third town center of Shelty is going into Joe's hands there. However, Hyperion has come through. That's going to be a nice way to deal a lot of damage to Shelty, to Joe's army. You cast in Chaos onto this army and then retreat, and he has to kill off all of those units himself. But we're not going to be seeing that just at this point in the game. Going to be waiting to see if you can grab some of those, what do you call it, myth units. It does convert 4 humans and 1 myth unit and makes it hostile, so it turns it to Gaia. So you can pick off a myth unit with that. We're seeing a citizen moving up here, going to be creating one of those palaces. So in order to get this town center back, you can build a palace, get those destroyers to start really pumping it. But I feel like Shelty is just going to go straight to that mythic age, cast Tartarian Gate in the base of his opponent there, and this town center looks like it's going to be attempted to go up as well. I mean, again, we're just seeing some axemen move in here. That Pharaoh is going to be taking some pain there, but he's so strong. 14 damage a shot. That Momilo is going to die. This town center is going to go up. So this is a classical army Egyptian player who's lost a load of villagers to basically a village of Ragnarok there, and he is going to be having to basically deal with the Mythic Age Atlantean. So it's going to be tech versus population. We're going to see what's going to happen there. Joe can potentially actually go to that Heroic Age. So it could be a Heroic Age 4-town center Joe versus a Mythic Age 2-town center Shelty. So we'll see what actually does happen there. It looks like he has bought Nephthys there, so he is going to be advancing. You can use Nephthys in order to pick off that Tartarian Gate, I believe. Get Nephthys, get your villages, and it should be enough. We're going to be moving those villages back off the gold mine there, back over here, and potentially back over here. And he's going to be totally fine to be gathering gold for this point in the game. If we jump back over to Shell's perspective, he is going through Hecate. Hecate is a little bit slower than Nephthys, so Nephthys is going to come first, and then Hecate. So we're going to see what happens there. And finally, we do see those destroyers moving out right now. We're going to be attempting to pick off this town center. We do see medium Momilo as well, so this is going to be more than enough to pick off this location. However, Shelty needs to think about grabbing that fortified town centers as well in order to do something. We see a nice little raid there from those axemen. These villagers can just jump into that manor and be totally fine. We're going to be seeing some of those that basically send that satire over with those Momilo, Terma, and Arcus in order to deal with this. The satire is going to do the damage though. Look at how much damage he does. Just throwing those spears, significantly buffed. We're seeing the medium destroyer getting pulled off the town center for some reason, picking off those priests, and the priests are actually going to be able to kill that destroyer, which is super weird considering how much health he has, or maybe not if you don't end up taking the last HP. Anyways, all of those axemen do fall, and we are going to be seeing those priests moving closer to this town center. Ancestors has been found, so we can use Ancestors onto the gold mine, but Hecate is coming soon. We do see these medium term already in position, so they're going to be able to move in and cast that thing here. However, Ancestors does go down, and he's going to be using that to defend against this location. But is that going to be the wrong choice here? We are seeing Tartarian Gate is going to get cast down on this location. Pick up, wow, that's huge. Tartarian Gate. Picking off a monument, picking off a couple of houses, picking off the temple, losing the secret Titan treasure. We are seeing villages getting pulled off the line here. Tartarian spawn moving out here, and the priest is already here in order to deal some damage to that Tartarian spawn. I'm not sure if it's considered a myth unit or not. I don't know what it is. I don't see the star coming from the priest, but it might be a myth unit. It should be considered a myth unit if it's not that silly. Anyways, that is going to be a huge distraction to Joe's base there. All of those Tartarian spores are going to be dealing so much damage to all those villages. The army of Joe is going to stop being so powerful because those medium destroyers come in. Nice Lampade Nice Lampade change there. He's going to be sending that Scorpion Man right into the army of Joe. So Joe's going to have to use his Priest in order to pick that guy off. That Scorpion Man is going to be dealing so much damage. But, ooh, nice little change up there. Keep the Scorpion Man alive. Oh, unfortunately, it's deciding to attack the unit that attacks it. So that Scorpion Man is going to have to get picked off there by Joe instead of by Shelty. So nice little win there. Lampade is taking a little bit of damage. Nice. A little bit of conversion of Slinger there. Doesn't really do all too much. That Destroyer is finally going to be picking off that town center right there. Might want to consider changing into some of those fire siphons as well if you can afford it. But it looks like the Lampade going to be retreating here, taking a bit of damage from the Priest, and actually taking in a lot of those units to chase him down. It's not something you want to do. For some reason, the Tartarian Gate has not managed to stay alive. Those Tartarian spawns do absolute work right there. And the villagers have been taken off that or have all died or something to the Tartarian spawn. The Tartarian spawn jumping onto these priests doing so much damage. That Tartarian Gate is ridiculous. Town center does fall there. Joe now sitting at 3 town centers. Shelty going to be grabbing his 3rd town center back. So he's stabilized at this point and he's just launching his way ahead of Joe, and Shelty is looking really, really good this game, picking off those axemen, and finally should move up to this location. Does he know about it? He does. He's seeing villagers run away preemptively. Going to move them back over to here. He has got the walls already coming up, so he should be fine with moving back onto that gold mine over here. He's also got a gold mine over here he can move up to if he starts walling over this location as well. So he should be totally fine for gold. But Shelty might be thinking about, hey, I should probably go Titan at this point so I can really start putting the pressure on because my economy is huge. Get this town center up, get Titan Gate. Doesn't have the favor though, so he can't really afford that. So we'll see what he does do. He is grabbing those heavy archers, such a strong tech and champion infantry. So those destroyers are going to turn into champion destroyers. Absolute tanks, can kill buildings super fast. It does have access to this chaos again, but maybe he's going to wait for Mythic Age of Joe. Joe sitting in the Mythic Age right now, has gone through Horus, so does have, actually not going to get that free Avenger because he didn't rebuild anything. So those destroyers are going to be doing way too much damage. There's no real answer to them at this point. There's not enough axemen. There's way too many slingers. Those slingers are going to be attempting to pick off the Terma and the heavy arcus, but this location is going to get taken down. We are seeing Mercenary coming out at this point, but Joe really doesn't have that many resources. The Satire does get picked off though, and the units are trying to focus fire the destroyers, but that's going to go down at this point. What's he going to use? Maybe he could use the tornado over here or over here or just anywhere at this point. But it looks like this town center is going to be going. Oh, maybe it's going to get saved. There are enough damage coming in from those mercenaries. While they were nerfed slightly, they still can do tons of damage to siege weapons, which is their primary purpose. We are seeing some citizens moving in now, going to be attempting building those military barracks on the front of Joe's town center, his 3rd town center. So if you can get that one up, he's going to start really being able to spam those units into his opponent's base. Shelty's sitting at 132 population to Joe's 102 population. So Joe falling behind, medium units versus champion units. And how's the armory looking? We do see only PS armor there for both players. So armory upgrades going to be one of those things you have to start thinking about. Once you hit that full population, you're going to be able to really afford those. In fact, Shelty should be grabbing them already. Chuck up 2 more armories, start spamming those armory upgrades, and then you get super far ahead. But we are going to be seeing Shelty moving in at this point. Can just simply get those destroyers and target the town center at this point, sitting at only 1,000 HP. That many destroyers, doesn't matter how many mercenary you have there, it's going to go down. So this town center is going to go down. No villagers repairing that one, and no Pharaoh empowering the town center either. So town center number 3 going down for Joe. So Joe going from 4 town centers to 2 town centers, back to his 2 town centers that he started with. So in fact, it was this town center he started with. So it looks like this may be enough right here to keep the push happening. And if you can start really putting on the pressure over here, cast that chaos to really do more damage. If we jump over to Joe's perspective, Joe's really got not much going on for him, apart from the fact he's still holding Tornado. So if he can stabilize, use Tornado to cause some distraction power over here, maybe send some units over here. We see a nice wall going up for Shelty. That's going to prevent pretty much everything except for this little gap here, which does Shelty know about. Shelty doesn't know about it either, neither does Joe, but he may be able to sneak a villager through there if he does click that way. So yes. Sneaking villages through and then doing side builds is one of the best ways to get back in a game if you fall behind. You can put a lot of pressure on your opponent and force them to make a decision to deal with that while you stabilize. So we'll see if that's what Joe goes for. But not having this town center makes it super difficult. We're seeing these destroys moving forward. Can definitely task them onto that house at this point. Start picking off houses, and then that makes it even more difficult for Joe to keep up. He has got quite a few resources in the back though, which is kind of what happens when you lose that town center, because you don't have to keep producing them. But losing houses means he's going to have even more resources in the back. Lucid Chaos does get cast there, does pick off a bunch of those Chariot Archers. So Chariot Archers are now the units of choice here for Joe. It might just be too much though, might be too little too late. Sending Citizen forward, going to be grabbing this 4th town center, pushing Shelty even further ahead. Having 4 town centers means 180 population for Shelty when he's already sitting at 160. So that's pretty big. So he's going to be moving these heavy archers forward. We do see that Tornado is getting cast on the army of Shelty there, but really not doing all too much. It may move over here and attempt to slap this location here, but I feel like it has, yep, okay, it's going to pick off the villager, but for some reason it doesn't deal damage to the settlement. That could be potentially a bug. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe Hagrid can tell me if tornadoes can actually deal damage to settlements, which they should be able to, or not. He is the mastermind of this game, knows all the ins and outs of everything, tells me I'm wrong about everything as well. Anyways, nice little counter for the Arcus here. Generally, Uranus players like to transition into Arcus, but then that just allows your opponent to transition to Chariot Archers, which for set, you can produce them super fast. They have like a 6-second build time, and then I think you take off 10%, so it's like 5.4%, I think, 5.4 seconds or something is set. I could be wrong. We are seeing those villages are getting attacked there, but they need to get back to work as soon as possible. We're seeing Migdol Stronghold going up on this location, and also camel caravans have been shut down. Looks like there was a market here for some reason, but that's been shut down. Shelty's sitting at full population. I think he may have over-economized, like over-ecoed, which is generally when you put too many, you build too many of these guys. You build too many llama caravans, that's over-ecoing. But the town center is going up. He's going to give him access to 20 more population, which means he should be able to just instantly jump to that. As you can see, he's jumped already up to 169, so he should be able to jump up to that 180 population. It's going to be way too much for his opponent to deal with. You are seeing this town center, it's not town center, Migdol Stronghold is going up, but with Champion Destroyers already onto it, it's going to be able to be slowed down very fast. Now we're seeing Watchtowers going thrown up for Shelty. Looks like Shelty's doing way too well, and he's going to be able to hang on in this game on those 4 town centers. Maybe Joe has that option of sending those villages forward, sneaking through. He might be able to give that a go, or he wants to start getting some catapult out. He does already have a sort of a wall set up, so he could get a catapult going and start sieging down that town center. If we jump over to Joe's perspective, he is building the catapult, so he could send it over here, finish this wall, and then it'll be difficult for Shelty to stop that from sieging. But I think there's just maybe just too much army for Shelty. Shelty is now sitting at 180 population. With only 4 villages on gold, but he has so many llama caravans. Does he have the upgrade? He doesn't have the upgrade for the llama caravans. It's definitely something you want to invest in. It gets you so much more gold very, very quickly. I think it's essentially like 1 lap and you'll get the gold back. Just simply because the units move so fast. With Burning Pitch, these archers deal so much damage to buildings that it's going to be able to pick this guy off. Basically, oh no, if it gets repaired, it might be okay. So should stop targeting that guy at this point. We do see the catapult moving in, going to be picking off this watchtower at this point. With mercenary cavalry coming in to the army, that's going to maybe nullify the cost of the fact that he is behind in population, because mercenary cavalry cost no population. So they are going to be dealing so much damage here. Kind of the counter to mercenary cavalry is watchtowers with crenellations, because they cost no population as well, and it's basically the same cost, maybe a little bit more. So you need to chuck up a bunch of those, but then they can build those catapults and it's going to be totally fine. We see the wall is trying to get finished here. This catapult is going to die though, so town center is going down there. It's going to be too much. Too much for Joe to keep alive there with Shelty's Burning Pitch Arcus. Shelty's still sitting at full population, but he just cannot manage to finish this game. It's one of those very difficult things about Uranus is finishing off opponents here, especially Egyptian opponents. We're seeing a nice, I like this nice little, what do you call it? Equilateral triangle? Not sure. It is enough to keep this catapult from going down from any of these units, but with Fanatics coming in now, that wall's going to go down whether you like it or not. And then nice micro there to pull this catapult back to keep him alive for a little bit there. But he's going to have to keep that up, going to keep on building that wall, get this catapult, trying to pick off this town center. It does have architects, which means it goes down super slow, so you can just start repairing that. Shelty, for some reason, still not able to really deal with this army here. Might want to consider just moving back onto Terma in order to pick off the chariot archers or something. We are seeing these champion destroyers moving forward. They deal so much damage to walls, as they should. These are wooden walls dealing against these destroyers. They're going to pick off those guys super fast. We're seeing this catapult is actually able to shoot at the town center from behind the wall, but the entirety of that wall is getting full as it was all connected. So now we're seeing fire siphons moving in. Fortified town center still up, but taking significant damage with those catapults. The heavy arc is also going to be trying to pick off this guy. Fire siphon does a lot of damage to a catapult there, just because catapults are kind of technically considered buildings, so he kind of does have a fair amount of crush damage. You don't get the bonus, I don't think, but catapults have slower crush armor, 89% crush armor, as opposed to the 99% crush armor of human units. So there you go. There's a little bit insight into how the game works. Catapult is going to get picked off though by those champion destroyers. There's no way that guy's staying up. Down center stays up as well, and Shelty's going to keep producing these units. What Shelty kind of might want to think about doing is building some more buildings closer. We have seen some villagers moving into this top location here. Going to be picking off these walls at this point, but I feel like Shelty should be able to see that coming. If Joe does build something over here, it's going to be totally fine. We don't see any real gold mines left for, we just see 2,000 gold left for Joe here. So Joe's army, unfortunately, is going to stop being so big soon because he's going to have to transition into trade route. And once you transition into trade route, you do need a certain amount of units on that trade in order to have a strong economy, a strong gold economy in order to produce these units as fast as you want. And that means it's going to be difficult for you to keep this going. This fire siphon's actually doing work. Big Dot Stronghold going to get taken down very, very quickly. Only one axeman dealing with that. So Big Dot Stronghold goes down and Shelty is moving forward. He is moving his way in, considering he probably should move over into this gold mine, see what he can do there. Shouldn't really be focused firing a chariot archer with your units there, but Shelty's got a couple of these idle units over here. These villages are idle. They did manage to pick off the wall of Shelty though, but we are seeing a palace moving in up here as well as those medium Contarius. So once you see your opponents going for those trade routes, scout those raids happening, get those buildings right onto your opponent's trade route, get your units picking off the trade. That's going to slow down the gold economy. You can see that Joe's sitting at 600 gold, and he's actually falling. He's gathering lots of gold, but he's falling in population because he's lost a house there, managing to rebuild that one, 2 villages. The fire siphon moving in as well, going to be attempting to pick off this temple, seeing what they can do there. The temple does have that Secrets of the Titans again, but it's not going to be all too much. Looks like the Arcus do have a bit of a hard-on for that Pharaoh at this point. Do manage to pick that guy off, and the town center is starting to research Secrets of the Titans. So we're going to see, can Joe get that Titan out? And if he can get the Titan out, will it be enough? We see that the palace has gone up into the base of Shelty. So Shelty's going to have to rebuild that market in a closer place to his to his town center, get these guys back to work by selecting them all. You can actually click on the idle military banner, hit shift, click on the camels, and then click on the town center. That's the fastest way to see all of your idle camels. But I feel like potentially Joe does not know that, and those fire siphons doing absolute work again to kill off this town center before the Secrets of the Titans comes through. These villagers are super strong though, and they're going to be able to pick off that fire siphon before he can manage to pick off the rest of this town center. So it's going to be able to stay up for at least the amount of time it takes for Secrets of the Titans to get researched. Shelty also going for his own Secrets of the Titans. So he's going to be able to utilize that in order to combat his opponent's Titan Gate. However, who's going to get it up first? And is Joe's Titan going to be enough? And that's the big question. Once Joe takes his villagers off food, which he has, that means he's no longer going to be able to produce any of those spearmen or axemen, which is something you should probably consider thinking about when your opponent goes for a fast Titan. You can actually start going heavy on fanatics, and then you're going to be totally fine. These axemen are going to stop becoming a pain. We're going to see this this Titan Gate get created here, and then send all of these villagers over here at this point. But another Fire Siphon moving in at this point. Need to get those Arcus to be dealing with those villagers and microing the Fire Siphon back. Otherwise, this is just going to be a back and forth you don't really want to take. Shelty is picking off some weird things here. Picking off a mining camp when there's a house there. Not really paying attention too much to what's going on. I guess the marathon set takes it out of you. However, definitely need to get that guy back to work. We do see that these Contarias are still trying to pick off stuff, but he spotted the Titan Gates. He's going to move these Contarias in and try and deal some damage here, but the Watchtower is probably going to be enough to pick off that Contarias at this point. Again, Fire Siphon, not being very, very persistent with these Fire Siphon here. Keep on moving them in, keep on trying to pick off that town center. We're seeing if he can manage to do that. Shelty, did he forget and turn off? No, he didn't. He's just got units everywhere attacking everything, which is kind of interesting. Alrighty, well, looks like Joe moving out. I'm not sure he wants to be doing that. Definitely want to be playing that defensive game. We do see that the Titan Gate is up now for Shelty. I'm not sure I like it being that close to your opponent. Excuse me. If you put it that close to your opponent and there's a 30% difference, and it's roughly going at the same speed, your opponent's going to be able to kill off that Titan Gate with his own Titan Gate, or with his own Titan. So definitely would have been better to chuck that one up back at home, but maybe he's going to send those villagers forward. Yeah, it looks like he's moving those citizens forward onto that Titan Gate in order to get it up faster. He realizes potentially made a mistake, and Joe's going ham on the Titan Gate himself. There is so many units here just getting picked off though. Just maybe too many heavy chariots. Maybe... And Joe going to be running out of gold as well though. So with running out of gold here, losing this market, having no gold left, these units are going to start winning this fight. Another Fire Siphon has picked off the town center as well. Not going for the market though, because he doesn't need to, because he's picked off the town center. I see. Smart play there by Shelty. Picking off the other town center as well. Even with a Titan Gate, it's going to be too much. It's just going to be too much to recover from. Titans are strong. He can pick off this Titan as a Titan Gate as well. He may be able to deal some serious damage, but is it going to be enough to restabilize is the big question here. We do see all of these citizens moving forward as well. They're going to be able to help uncover this Titan Gate as well. So we'll see, can it get up before the Titan gets over there? That's the big story. If it can, it may be all right. We are seeing Contarias moving in now, going to be picking off these villages as well. The Fire Siphon moving in, maybe potentially picking off this market. And that's what's going to go on there. Could send some of those villagers in to grab a 5th town center as well, just to add insult to injury. And then we go. We do see that the Titan is coming down, and he's going to be super mad and start flailing his limbs around. You want to try and grab him as soon as you possibly can. Send that guy up here. Pick off that Titan Gate as fast as you possibly can. It is going up super quickly though with all of those villagers. So this may not be there fast enough. These villagers need to get out of the way. So let's see if that's going to happen. We do see him making his best route to his opponent's Titan Gate, but I think he's seeing how fast it's going up, making those judgments in his head. If he does get over there, which potentially could, 75%, 76%. I feel like he can actually get there, but if he can just start pathing blocking this Titan Gate, or this Titan, which he's doing, I love it. He can actually, there we go. He's decided to tap out. It says GG. With the pathing blocking, that's just too much. Never going to get to that Titan Gate. Titan Gate going to be able to spawn, defend, kill off the enemy Titan, and it's going to be game over there. So Joe tapping out, says GG. Shelty played super well there. I really love Joe's play, taking villagers away. So he's managed to build so many villagers in the early game by getting that early second town center that he was able to send those forward in order to pick off that other town center of his opponent with villagers, which normally you don't see. Normally villager rushes only generally happen if that's your strategy. And you generally use it very, very quickly to kill off your opponent's town center before he gets to the classical age, or something similar to that. But Sheltie hanging on there, managing to take this game. So I think I might be wrong, but I think it's now 3-2. So Sheltie making a comeback. If Joe wins the next game, he is crowned the champion. But if Sheltie wins the next game, it's going to be a best of one. Who wins the last game wins. So we'll see who comes out on top. If you enjoyed this game, please rate, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you want to see my videos as soon as they come out. My name is Boit, and I'll see you guys next time.